what I've fallen in love with, and I don't know who does it, is realclearpolitics.com.
Oh, yeah.
That, that's my morning.
Yeah,
Sometimes it's my late night.
They do a good job of aggravating commentary as well as polling.
Well, I want to start by quoting you from one of your columns. It's written in February, so it wasn't that long ago. All we know about this wild campaign year so far is that predictions are worse than worthless. That's become a little less so now, hasn't it?
Yes.
After last night.
Yes, we're further down the road.
Now you feel comfortable with making some more,
Well, I don't feel that comfortable because I'm not very comfortable with math, and I did poorly in math in school.
But
and it's all a big math problem now.
The story at the end of this week seems to be that, at least what I'm hearing, is that there is this feeling that the establishment is finally recognizing a hunger for change in this country.
I think that's right. And I think the question now, I was just a few minutes ago on Ed Schultz's show on the radio, and he's... I did it on the cell phone in the cab on the way over. Which
Those are always fun interviews to listen to.
But he has a huge, huge audience. We were talking about this, and my line on it at this point is that she can go down classy or she can go down ugly, and she's got a very tough decision to make.
You think it's that simple?
Well, no, because predictions are worse than worthless. So, can things change very radically? Yes, you have to leave the door open to that, but it's my sense right now that my 16-year-old son got it right on the night of the Iowa caucuses, and I had to. My laptop had broken. We were in Des Moines, and we brought all our kids because we treat it like political tourism. We had about 20 people from my extended family, and we saw 7 different candidates.
Oh my God!
Some of them were for some candidates, others were for others,
right.
and so. And my laptop had broken, so I had to write something for our website on my thumbs on my BlackBerry. And we were at dinner, and it had just come through that Obama had won.
Yeah.
We were going to go over to his headquarters. I said to the table of my family, I've got to write something now that the website's demanding I post something. And my son said, the only person who can beat Obama is Obama. And I wrote that, and at that time it was premature. Because there were a lot of other things that could happen, and a few days later, she shocked all of us by Hillary Clinton by winning the New Hampshire primary, and that was a lesson. That was when I wrote that predictions are worthless line, because I really had a lot of egg on my face because I had gone on your old show, Charlie Rose, the night before the New Hampshire primary, and said I think that Obama's on his way. But we're at a different place now because
it is about numbers
statistically,
now.
it's really about numbers. So she. At this point, if he doesn't make a bad mistake, he's the nominee.
Right.
So she is not going to be able to take him down just by running a good campaign or raising questions about him. He has to stumble.
Because you can be too vicious. There were a lot of in the pundit class saying today, well, he better watch out in this debate. She's going to come after him. But there's only so much of that you can do.
Right.
You come out with fangs and claws and or your teeth flare. You try to be too aggressive, and that can backfire on you.
Yes, and he could easily make a mistake in one of these debates. There are high wire acts. So it's not. I don't want to be mistaken here. It's not over. Something could happen,
okay, well,
and often it does happen in politics. But so you can't stick a fork in her, but you might be able to stick a spoon in her right now. Okay.
What an image. But you're talking about mistakes. Was the plagiarism thing a mistake? Was that what was made out of it, or was that just a slow day on the campaign trail and a story was needed?
It was a desperation move by the Clinton people.
But they turned around though and said it didn't come from them.
Well, that wasn't true.
Well,
I mean, that's one of the reasons they're in trouble is they say stuff like that we know isn't true. It did come from them. And it was their spokesman, Howard Wolfson, who turned it into an issue by saying it was plagiarism, which it wasn't. So it was a silly thing for Obama to do, and he should have known better, but it wasn't plagiarism. And in fact, she shouldn't have raised it because in the Philadelphia debate, it's actually an interesting story from that debate that hasn't gotten very much attention. That was the first debate that she lost. Mm-hmm. She was on a winning streak. She was winning these debates. And then she couldn't give a straight answer in that debate, and she
How many
kind
people
of fell
were still
apart.
in the game then, in Philadelphia?
Quite a number.
Okay.
But Obama wasn't having a good debate either. And they had a commercial break, and John Edwards went over to Obama and said, "Focus," like he was trying to get some help from Obama because he realized that Clinton was on the ropes in this particular debate. And by Obama's description, the way he focused when he really did have a very good second half of that debate was when she said, "It's time to turn the page," which was one of his signature lines. And he's up there, and I remember the expression on his face, like, well, she just ripped off my line, you know? And so politicians do this all the time. And it has to be more along the lines of what Joe Biden did. What Joe Biden did in 1988. That was, you could argue that was plagiarism. I mean, I think that went too far too, and because he had cited Neil Kinnock, the British politician, on other occasions. I don't think Joe Biden should have been driven from the race for that in '88. But you could make an argument that was plagiarism. You can't make an argument that this thing with Deval Patrick was plagiarism, and nobody in the press bought it, and they just wasted time. They didn't help themselves in Wisconsin.
And you think he lost no traction on it?
No.
And the and the Michelle Obama. This is the first time I've been.
That I think is a bigger problem.
Because it can
it's
be.
It's not a problem in the primaries.
But it's
a potential problem if the McCain people exploit it properly in a general election. And you notice that Cindy McCain, when she was asked for her comments about Michelle Obama saying that this campaign was the first time in her lifetime she'd been proud to be an American, Cindy McCain said, "I've always been proud to be an American."
Almost anybody could have written that. I mean, that was just such an obvious rejoinder to.
Yeah, and I should say something nice about Cindy and John McCain. I like them a lot personally.
Now this is an interesting thing because I don't know a single journalist who knows them and who doesn't like them.
Yeah.
But
I like Barack and Michelle Obama. I'm from Chicago originally. I've known them since the 1990s.
It's very interesting to me after all these years of us always hearing about, a senator can't get the nomination, a senator can't run. We may well, it looks like we're going to have a campaign with two senators.
Yeah, and by the way, I want to just, since I'm talking about all the existing candidates.
Yes, who else do you like?
I like Bill and Hillary Clinton, personally.
Do they like you,
Jonathan? I think they used to like me more than they do right now. But one of the things that's wonderful about Bill Clinton in particular is that he doesn't have a long memory. He doesn't hold grudges against people. So even though he's a little annoyed with me right now, I've been there with him before, and our relationship has always survived it. And so after in 1998, for instance, when I asked him when he was president, I asked him if he was going to be seeking any psychiatric counseling for his problem. And he got very, very angry at me.
No kidding.
And we were in the presidential limo, and he got furious.
You were in a car with him and you asked him that?
Yeah. And then he got out of the car at his next event, and I was alone with the Secret Service, just sitting there. And he didn't say goodbye, and the door slammed, and but notwithstanding that.
You like him?
No, it's really more about him. That in 2002. He had been out of the presidency for a year, and he hadn't given an interview about Mark Rich, about any of the stuff that happened at the end of his presidency. And he gave me his first interview after leaving the White House, which we put on the cover of Newsweek. And he didn't hold it.
You went up to Chappaqua?
I didn't go to Chappaqua, but we spent a lot of time on 125th Street.
Okay.
And then
so
I traveled around with him, and I spent quite a bit of time with him. But the point is that because he knows that he's done things that he needs forgiveness for. He's pretty good about forgiving people, and it's very helpful for a politician to have a short memory. It gives them more durability. I'm not so sure that Hillary has as short a memory.
Well, so let me ask you a couple of questions here. Since you spent time with Clinton, clearly you feel you know something about him. You feel you understand.
By the way, I like Huckabee too, but that's another story.
Could he possibly, at some level, want Hillary not to win?
Well, I think at some level, and I wrote a piece after the Iowa caucuses on the sort of demise of the Clintons, that on some level, I think he knows that Obama is his true heir.